Today I'm going to make a servo tester using an integrated circuit 555 timer, which is very popular and cheap. Let's get started. This is a schematic I found on the internet using simple connections, basic and cheap components. I recommend you to build this on your breadboard, as this is a good project for your school or your college, or even just by curiosity. As this circuit uses basic components, it has its limitations. But it's a fun project to experiment with. It was all good on the breadboard, but I wanted it to be portable and good looking, so I decided to design a PCB out of this circuit. So I took this schematic that I downloaded from the internet and I transferred it to my PCB design software. I copied this schematic and then I generated a PCB board out of it. This software is called ECEDA and it's an online-based software, so you can use it in any computer and access your projects from your account. And it is from the same creators of JLCPCB, which is a company that lets you create 10 of your boards for only $2. In the description of the video you will see a link that will take you to the ECEDA project. There you will see an schematic and also the PCB design. You can download the driver file or even order your own PCB. There you will find the up-to-date file, because I have made improvements to this design since I've made this video. JLCPCB is the sponsor of this video, but actually their PCB boards are very well made, but most importantly, very cheap. You can order 10 of these PCB boards for only $2. Take into account that you have to order the green PCB boards, because if you order other colors, the price will be higher, since green is the standard color. The good thing about ECEDA is that you can place an order directly from it, or you can export a driver file from your favorite software and upload it to the website. By the way, while I was designing on ECEDA, I didn't find the potentiometer, the exact one that I was going to use, so I had to create my own footprint for this component. So I designed my own footprint for this component, something that is allowed on ECEDA. Then, to make sure it was going to fit, I printed a real scale PDF and then I make the holes on it to test the size of the component and if it will fit. And because all was good, I ordered all the PCBs and about a week later I got them. Here you can see the quality of the PCB on a close-up. The color looks amazing. Later on I found out that I made a little mistake with the potentiometer's connections, but that's something we're going to fix later. By the way, that's already fixed in the new version. Here up close you can see the quality of the printing, but mostly the quality of the board itself. And here you can see the actual size compared to my hand. But now it's time to put together the circuit to see if it works. So here's everything we need. We will need pin headers to connect the input and output. We will need the 555 timer IC, which is really popular and cheap. We will use an electrolytic capacitor of 1 microfarad, 220 nanofarad capacitor, and 2 100 nanofarad capacitor. We will need a 1 kilo ohm, 3 kilo ohm, and 68 kilo ohm resistors. We will need diodes. In the description you will see the kind of diodes I'm using, an LED, and a potentiometer, in this case a 10 kilo ohm. In the next version we will use a different potentiometer, but in this case this one will work. Optional, we can also use an IC socket. So as always, we will start placing the components and soldering them in place. And because this is not rocket science, I'm gonna fast forward this. At this point you can solder the 555 timer directly to the board, but I prefer to have the IC socket, and that way I can replace the 555 timer anytime I want. And if you have some experience on this, you know how this story goes. We have to place the components, solder them in place, and we have to check the polarity of components like the electrolytic capacitor, the LED, and the diode. We cut the excess leads, and blah blah blah. This is the moment of the truth with the potentiometer, because this is when I'm going to know if my design worked. I'm talking about the footprint that I was testing with the PDF that I print earlier. And we put the potentiometer and it works. After we put the nut and tightened it down, and it's really good. And it holds in place very good. So we don't have to solder anything else just to hold the place of the potentiometer, except for the connections, of course. As I told you earlier, I made a little mistake with the connections or the routing of these potentiometer connections, but we're going to solve it with two little wires to cross the connections, so we fixed that. Again, that's already fixed in the new version. All that's left is soldering the pin headers, and we are almost done. I should have soldered them before, but anyways, let's do it now. And finally, but very important, we place the 555 timer IC on the board. Make sure the orientation is right. And now we have officially finished this circuit. Now we have to connect a battery, a servo, and test it. Before connecting the servo, make sure to place the potentiometer about the center position. That way the servo won't rotate all the way and maybe crash or something. Now this circuit is very fun, but I won't trust this 100% using it with servos. I will explain why in a moment. And there we have it. We have our circuit working 100% from our PCB. And now you can see how we took the circuit from this to this. Amazing. Here you can see another variation with 90-degree angle pin headers. The problem with this circuit is that the output signal is not perfect. To control a servo, we use a signal that varies in width from 2 milliseconds to 1 millisecond. Depending on the width or duration of this pulse, the servo rotates. This circuit is doing a very good job. But the signal goes from 2 milliseconds to 0.5 milliseconds, making the servo go crazy when it goes below 1 millisecond. And that's the main problem. It also doesn't work with digital servos because they start shaking. That means that something is wrong and the digital servo doesn't know how to interpret that signal. And my analog servo just dislocated itself, rotating past the endpoint because it was reading a signal lower than 1 millisecond. So for now I'm just being careful with the endpoints of my potentiometer so I don't crash the servos. This problem is also happening because the potentiometer is not a perfect value of 10 kilo ohms. It goes up to 10 point something kilo ohms, and that's why this is happening. Now if we had perfect components, these problems might not be happening. In a future project we will use a programmable chip instead, because that way we can overcome this limitation of these components. That way we can just set the endpoints and the signal will be perfect. I designed a little box to 3D print it and use it as a case for this project. I also downloaded a knob from Thingiverse to use it on the top of the potentiometer. In the end, there were many versions of this box and the sizes were not correct and something went wrong, so I just decided to stop it. And this circuit overall didn't deserve to be in a box because it is not that perfect. So I used one of these versions and I put some tape on it, and it doesn't look good, but it works. Overall, the circuit is not that bad and it performs the task on analog servos just fine. As you can see here, I'm testing the rudder of my boat. So finally we have this circuit totally finished. As I told you, in a future project I will make another servo tester, but this time digital. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, consider subscribing. That will make me happy. Happy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next project.